rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, goodness. So, the wife went out and got me a gift. Of course, it was my request, but she got me a gift, and I think you guys will like it. Anybody remember these? So now I have two predictor kind of things. Magic 8 Ball, and of course, President Predicto. Yeah, we can maybe test that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll maybe test that later on. But first, tonight I want to talk a little bit about, there's a Chip Roy has made a suggestion as to how the SAVE Act can be passed without breaking the filibuster. And that breaking of the filibuster, by the way, is something that the left keeps talking about how they're going to do it. But the right doesn't seem to want to break it. So we'll just have to see about that. Also, too, some horrific news out of Rhode Island. We've had another mass shooting. This one was a familial mass shooting, and I want to talk a little bit about that. And remember, I was telling you last night about the Islamic call to prayer being transmitted across all of New York City. Well, during that conversation, I made a comment about how they don't like dogs. Well, like I predicted it somehow, because now all of a sudden, I guess it's racist to like dogs. I have no idea. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight, I already forgot who we have up on tap. Let me go look, because I forgot. That's a bad thing. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, Pops McGroin. That's why. Okay, Pops McGroin and partner are up for tonight's pledge. So, if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, and follow along with Pops McGroin and his partner as they recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
That's right. God bless America. And I thank you, Pops, and your partner for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge, reciting or performing it. Then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file that is generated out of that, and attach it to an email. Send it off to me. Send it to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. I've got 21 of these things. I need 26 by the end of 2026. That means I'm missing 5, folks. 5. In a calendar year, come on. We got to be able to get 5 in a calendar year. So if you haven't done it yet, please do so. And if you do it on your phone, it's by some kind of an app there. Generally speaking, there is a way you can use the share option. That's the SHARE share option. And send it off to me as well. Send it to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. And that is essentially how that goes. And I'll get you into the rotation, of course, as soon as I possibly can. So there you go. I would appreciate it. I'm sure all the rest of my Whiskey Warrior P1s would appreciate it too. Once again, that's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. All right. Oh, boy, I almost messed up. Let's see. What's tonight? Tuesday? Yes. Okay. Give me just a second. I am running. I'm running behind here. Very, very bad. Oh, bad things. Bad things happen when I'm running behind. Like not being able to freaking get the headline sponsor up. There you go. There you go. This is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution is a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education from an American or biblical form, or a biblical world view. That's right. I got to remember it's a biblical worldview now. Anyway, there are 3 steps that they encourage you to do this, which is to pray, to study, and to act. Well, the first one's pretty easy. Pray for your country every single day. I know I pray for my country every single day I get up. I am very thankful for the fact that I am in a country that allows me to do stuff like this right here. And to be able to afford all of the equipment and gear that I've got here. I mean, this is some fabulous stuff. But anyway, the second step, of course, is to study. And you can start to study by going and taking their U.S. Constitution course. It's 100% free. It's online. Fill out this form right here above my head. I mean, obviously, when you go to theamericanview.com, oops, I didn't have it up. Theamericanview.com is the website and where you can go. Okay. And right here is where you can sign up. You hit the study link up in the upper left-hand corner, and you'll be taken right to this page. Put in your first name, last name, email, and you click Get Lesson 1 free, and it will send you 12 short lessons. They're 15, 20 minutes long. 12 short lessons about our Constitution. And you can start your constitutional journey there. It's all 100% free, delivered right to your inbox, your email inbox every single week. And you can go and do that. And then after you do that, go and maybe explore some of the live classes that they have available. Go and check out all of their live classes. They've got four or five classes. You can also pick up their student and course material as well from their store. And then the last piece is for you to act. That's right, act. So, to act, you can either become a member or, even better yet, become an instructor and help them out by spreading the grassroots education across everywhere. So you guys definitely need to do this. Head on over to theamericanview.com and go to the Institute on the Constitution. And also, I just encourage this because this is just a fabulous product. I've been pitching it for years, and I can tell you many, many people have appreciated this. But if you head on over to the shop and go to the Legacy Library, it's right there above my head. Can't miss it. It's all the way over on the right-hand side. But if you go to the Legacy Library, there's this fantastic book. It's a leather-bound U.S. Constitution book. There it is. Really not that expensive, I'm telling you. It's $19 for a book. I mean, and the thing has a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects. Check this out. This is it right here. Got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. It is stitched. And according to Nana, G usually comes up with these, but Nana, my unofficial producer, has the stitching is so strong it could tie up AOC's mouth. And believe me, she needed it tied up this week. Also, 3 Chevy says that each rounded corner book will cause Chicago liberals to have an emotional meltdown. Does that help melting the ice in Chicago? I don't know. But head on over to theamericanview.com, go to their shop, and go to the Legacy Library. Pick one of these up today. It is fantastic as a gift and everything else. Like I said, it's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if something goes wrong with this thing, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to achieve your Scouts badge in civics, as well as pass that civics exam, and not to mention you may even pass that naturalization test that you might be taking. Go to theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview.com. Go to their shop and get their Constitution today. Yeah, and by the way, it even stands up to the Wyoming wind, which I guarantee you there's a lot of wind in Wyoming because Wyoming is up at the top of the Rocky Mountains. So, yeah, it's windy up there. Anyway, go to theamericanview.com. And check out all of their stuff, all of their products, everything, all of their services and everything else. TheAmericanView.com for the Institute on the Constitution. And I thank them for being a sponsor of the show. All right. Well, Senator Thune, who is the majority leader in the Senate, he put out that he is guaranteeing the SAVE Act, that's the voter ID bill, to hit the Senate floor despite Schumer and Dem opposition. He said, quote, "We will have a vote." So Thune says that Republicans will make Democrats defend their opposition to the citizenship requirements as the midterms approach. Well, it's earned a backing of 50 Senate Republicans, including Thune, which is enough to break through a key procedural hurdle. So, now, whether or not it can pass from the Senate to Donald Trump's desk is, for now, an unlikely scenario if lawmakers take the traditional path in the upper chamber. But Thune is saying, no, we're going to have a vote. We're going to have a vote. He viewed the opportunity of a floor vote as a way to have the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, and his caucus explain to voters why they are going to block a legislative push to federally enshrine voter ID and proof of citizenship to register to vote. Because remember, folks, the SAVE Act, the ideas of voter ID and proof of citizenship, okay, is essentially 83% of voters, Americans across the board, 83% support it. 71% of Democrats support it. 90-something of Republicans do, but 71% of Democrats support it. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Everybody pretty much wants it, except for the Democrats in Congress. Let's just say because they're all stupid. But anyway, this move is good. Is a good move, I personally think. And actually, I don't even care if they destroy the filibuster. They destroy the filibuster. Who the hell cares? Because the Democrats have been threatening to destroy it for years, so might as well preemptively strike, I guess. But anyway, now, without at least a handful of Senate Democrats joining the GOP, it is destined to fall victim to the 60-vote filibuster threshold. And Schumer has time and time again made it clear that he and the majority of Senate Democrats view the legislation as a tool of voter suppression, which is a bunch of complete, utter bullshit. So, yeah. Anyway, they're claiming that it would unduly harm poorer Americans and minority groups. I mean, never mind the fact that the inside of the Voting Act, it says that states have to provide it. If somebody does not already have ID or the means to get an ID, they have to provide it for free. So, anyway. Well, Senate Republicans are looking at their option, and one, which Thune's already thrown the cold water on it, is nuking the Senate filibuster. So the other is turning to what's called the talking or standing filibuster. Now, that, of course, was the precursor, the physical precursor to the current filibuster that requires hours upon hours of debate over a bill. Now, this is what Chip Roy, is saying right now. He's actually calling it out, and he's basically saying, hey, we can move the legislation under the current rules without nuking the filibuster. Now, he sent a letter to senators laying out a simple way that the Save America Act can be brought to the floor without nuking the filibuster. Now, just to be clear, the SAVE Act would require both documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote and voter ID in order to cast a ballot. Oh my gosh, this would totally freaking screw up. I'm just telling you, this would totally screw up Washington State. Because we do mail in balloting by signature. Yeah, this would totally freaking screw that up. Anyway. So, according to Roy's letter, which was exclusively obtained by the Federalist, Roy pointed out he can put that Senate Majority Leader John Thune can put the bill to the floor at any time. So he lays out how Thune could successfully bring the Save America Act to the vote without nuking the filibuster. He explains that as long as all Senate Republicans who have either co-sponsored or publicly supported the legislation show up and present a live quorum, it would force the Democrats to talk nonstop to delay a vote at just 51 votes rather than the typical 60. See, according to Roy, he says the commonly accepted 60-vote filibuster threshold to shut off debate is not the only way to force a vote in the Senate. The majority can force the opposing senators to speak. And this is under current Senate rules, according to Roy. If there is a quorum, meaning, for those of you that don't know what a quorum is, meaning a majority of people there, the Senate must either be voting or a member must be speaking. In other words, he says, if no one is speaking and a quorum is present, the vote on the pending business happens automatically. So what Roy said is that Thune could could proceed to the Save America Act with a simple majority vote as soon as he chooses. Under current practice, he would call it up, debate it for a while, and proceed to a 60-vote cloture vote to shut off debate. That, of course, would fail. Republicans would shrug and say, we tried, we need to elect more Republicans. That's what they call a fake or zombie filibuster, according to Roy. There's no real speaking, no failure to get 60 votes to shut off debate, and then just a failure to get 60 votes to shut off debate, and then default to a quorum call, which it means no business goes on, rather than having 51 senators show up to call the question at a simple majority. Now, these are existing Senate rules, according to Roy. 51 senators need to be present in the chamber to seek a vote on the SAVE Act. Democrats, who are in the minority, will try to run a filibuster to stop the vote. But as Roy notes, if Republicans stick together, and this is the problem with this whole thing. Okay, this is the problem with this whole thing, is that Republicans don't usually stick together. That's why we get our asses handed to us at times. But anyway, he says if Republicans stick together and the minority exhaust their opportunities to speak in opposition or give up, a final vote on passage of the bill occurs automatically at a majority threshold. Roy did say that Republicans would need to be disciplined and table each amendment and enforce the two-speech rule in order to force an actual vote on the Save America Act. We can move the legislation under current rules without nuking the filibuster. Now, the Save America Act, as a reminder, passed the House at 218 to 213 with Democrat Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas voting to pass the legislation alongside the Republican colleagues. Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman has come out has come out in support of the legislation. But he also said that he wouldn't pass it either. I don't know which way he's going to go. Anyway. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know why they don't do this. I don't know. It really makes no sense to me. It's like Republicans, for some damn reason, and I have no idea why, but Republicans, for some damn reason, we have so many different views as to how to get to someplace, wherever that place is, and we talk about how many different paths we can use to get there. We never come together. We never come together on a path, the right path. This is the right path, folks. This is the right path. This is supported by the vast majority of Americans. We're talking more than 2/3 of Americans agree to this. More than 3/4 of Americans agree to this. This is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Now, keep in mind, non-citizen voting is already illegal, as the Democrats keep pushing it out. Okay? But it lacks any kind of law enforcement mechanism right now, which is why the illegals are being allowed to vote. That's why they're happening, why it's happening. And the 1993 National Voter Registration Act, known as the Motor Voter Act, only requires that they go and check a box. That's it. It's all on the honor system, which obviously we can't do that anymore. Anyway. Yeah, they need to force a vote on this. They just do. And if Chip Roy has got this figured out, man, this is what they need to have happen. Okay? This is what they need to have happen. All right. So last night, I talked a little bit about how AOC did a faceplant in Munich. Well, guess what? She apparently is pissed about that. Yeah. She's mad. Oh, you know what, sweetheart? I gotta tell you. You know, sweetheart, I just got to tell you, yeah, you're not happy. You're not happy. You are not happy about how stupid you yourself made yourself sound on the world stage. So, yeah. Kellen Browning is like, well, she went and gave me a call and she told me that everybody's got the story wrong, that this is about me running for president. Global democracies are on fire the world over, she says, according to Kellen Browning. And by the way, Kellen Browning is a stenographer at the New York Times, trying to clean things up. Anyway, Kellen Browning tried to cover it up by saying the way her performance was microscopically dissected through the lens of what it meant for a hypothetical White House campaign frustrated AOC. She said she's worried that her message was being lost in all the commotion. No. The message was lost because she couldn't frickin' articulate it properly. The message was lost because she was so stupid she didn't even understand or be able to clearly articulate her position. That's why. So, yeah. Oh my God. Anyway. Yeah, it was one of the paragraphs that was in the piece read, but rather than the substance of her arguments, it was her on-camera stumbles when answering questions about specific world affairs that rocketed around conservative social media and drove plenty of the discussion about her visit as political observers speculated whether or not they would make a dent in a potential presidential run in 2028. Yeah. What substance was there? I played for you the audio last night, or the video last night, of her position. Oh, this guy, he goes, as this reporter came up to me and was like, is Munich the new New Hampshire? And I cannot say enough how out of touch and missing the point genuinely that is. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, yeah, whatever, said in an interview, referring to the state's tradition of hosting early presidential primary contests, global democracies are on fire the world over, and established parties are failing to right-wing populist movements. Maybe because, little Miss AOC, that those right-wing populist movements are just that, populist. Hello, everybody wants to get back to normal. They want to get back to normal. They don't want this constant strife and anxiety and all this crap, the denial of biology, the denial of societal norms. They don't want any of that anymore. I mean, yeah, it sounded like fun at the beginning, but now it's like, we're tired of this crap. Let's get back to normal. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled programs. Yeah. Continues here and says, to Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, the discourse about her visit had missed the more important point about the risks of authoritarianism. You mean the authoritarianism that you're advocating for there, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez? With your wealth tax? Yeah, your wealth tax. Don't forget, we haven't forgotten about it. You certainly, obviously, think that that's like this fantastic thing. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I can't even just imagine what the hell is going on here. So she is, as described, according to this Red State writer, he's like, this is what happens when a total lightweight whose rise to prominence was astroturfed in a far-left congressional district with a mix of DSA funding and acting lessons finally feels the slightest amount of pressure. AOC expected to get the treatment she receives from the mainstream American press. Instead, she got a wake-up call. She's not good at this. She's never been more exposed. She might want to rethink about that 2028 presidential run, because once the shine comes off a politician, it's hard to put it back on. If the failure of Kamala Harris proved anything, it's that voters see through facades rather easily, and they don't forget. Yeah, I hope that I mean, seriously, come on. This Walz should die. And by die, I mean his political career. His political career should be completely over right now. In fact, nobody should even be giving him the time of day, other than the courts. Kamala Harris, she's another one. She should be completely gone from public life. She needs to fade off into historical obscurity forever, with the only footnote in the history books saying that she was the first female vice president. And that's saying something, because the other footnote above hers is that Biden was non compos mentis his entire 4-year term. But anyway, yeah. All of that stuff needs to go away. I mean, at least Gretchen Whitmer had the sense to basically say, hey, I'm not a foreign policy person. Which, of course, then begs the question, why would you be at a foreign policy conference then, if you're not a foreign policy person? Yeah, they all went to try and up their foreign policy chops. They were attempting to, and well, yeah, all three of them. Newscomb, yeah, and yes, I did say Newscomb. Newscomb, Newscomb. Sorry, I'm checking my closed captioning stuff, but Newscomb, AOC, and what's her name? Oh God, yeah, Whitmer, all failed. They all failed. Anyway, well, really quick check on the ICE situation. First of all, keep in mind, Homan has already said that ICE is staying in Minnesota until they get done, even though it's a smaller force. But here's a reality check. More local police are now choosing to work with ICE, not less. I mean, let's just face it, folks. If you actually work with federal law enforcement enforcing federal law, the outcome isn't the Minnesota outcome. Okay? The outcome isn't the Minnesota outcome. The outcome is that, hey, we get safer streets. We get these criminals off the streets, and they go away. Yeah. So apparently, Maryland sheriffs have vowed to defy Democrat Governor Wes Moore's ban on working with ICE. Yeah, that's as they should. As they should. According to a new data by FWD US, which is Forward US, it's a nonpartisan policy organization, collaborations between local law enforcement and ICE agents that permit police officers to make federal immigration arrests has seen a sharp increase. Remember how I was telling you with regards to Florida, how all of the Florida sheriffs signed on? Yeah. So, in the first year of Trump's second term alone, arrests done by local officers has risen by 950%. As of January 26th, there was 11,068 local agencies that have officers trained to assist ICE agents. That's up from just 135 during the Biden administration, and that is up extremely from the 150 that were at the end of Trump's first term. Folks, think about that. Doing some really quick math here, there is 1,018 more local agencies that are trained to work with ICE and assist ICE than there were even at the end of Trump's first term. That's some really quick math for you. So part of the uptick in local assistance stems from the revival of what is called the task force model, in which officers are deputized so that they're able to stop and arrest individuals they have reason to believe that are in the country illegally. But as might be expected, blue cities and otherwise red states may have a problem. In October 2025, Dallas Police Chief Daniel Corneo, turned down a $25 million partnership with ICE, even after Mayor Eric Johnson of Dallas urged other elected officials to explore the potential benefits from such a program. The police chief himself stated that he was concerned that his officers would be pulled away from their normal duties. In Blue Montgomery County, Maryland, the district attorney, along with the Police Chiefs Association, released a statement which read, in part, the Montgomery County Detective Bureau and police departments in Montgomery County do not enforce civil immigration orders. Enforceable warrants must be signed by a judge. But yet, in other red states, like Louisiana, Republican governors have left local law enforcement with zero choice. For an example, in May of 2025, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry signed an executive order that directed state and local law enforcement to assist in ICE operations. So the governors in those places they're... Anyway, yeah. So this is all talking about the 287G program, which offers a lucrative deal to local law enforcement and includes $7,500 per officer for equipment, $100,000 for new vehicles, and overtime pay for up to 25% of an officer's salary. There are 39 states where law enforcement assists ICE. Not surprisingly, red states are the most likely participant, with Florida being number one in that list of 324 agreements. Texas has 296, Tennessee with 63, Alabama with 52. By the way, even swing state Pennsylvania has joined the mix with 58 assistance programs. And if you want to contrast, just look at the difference between Minnesota and Florida, where the local cooperation exists, and of course Minnesota, where it does not. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. By the way, down in Florida, one of the colleagues of the writer of this article, colleague is Brad Slaker, recently reported that the Sunshine State is working smarter, not harder, by combining illegal immigrant apprehension with fish and game violations. Oh, yeah, fish and game violations, proving that in Florida there's more than one way to catch illegal immigrants. That's good. Yeah. Folks, these leftist lunatic states and cities and towns and all that, they just need to go. They need to get on board, enforce federal immigration law, and that will protect the public. End of story. All right, let's talk about Rumble Premium for an example here. As you've probably noticed, Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, which is an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the Rumble platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content that you came for. Plus, Premium members also unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium. That's rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout to get that $10 off that annual subscription. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom in the content that you actually care about. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium for $10 off that annual subscription using the promo code STUDIO at checkout. Well, we've had another shooting, and these incidents are extremely, extremely upsetting. Okay? Extremely upsetting. But what's making it even more, shall we say, sensational, a bad word, but that's the only thing that I can think of, sensationalized, is the fact that this individual was essentially transgender. Now, I'm not saying that transgenderism is a problem and will automatically lead you to violence. It does not. And I'm not saying that mental illness automatically leads to violence. It does not. There are a vast majority of very, we'll call them passive individuals who are dealing with mental illness, and they are not violent to others at all. But it is time for us to sit down and realize that there is a correlation. Unlike the left, who likes to correlate the idea that, oh, gun violence is because of the gun, I'm taking a little bit more of a, shall we say, common sense approach. And I'm asking the question, which is essentially this: why, when we have had guns, and even prior to what is considered to be the first mass shooting in the 1970s, or maybe it was the 60s, why is it that we now all of a sudden have these events happening over and over and over and over again? I mean, why are they happening so often? You could consider it a couple of different things. One is the ability to get information out as quickly as possible today versus, say, the 1940s, 1950s, even the 1930s. You could say that our exposure to it is a lot more fast because of the way that our news is reported. You could also say, and that would be entirely true, that is an argument that can be made in terms of how quickly we can figure this stuff out. You could also say that because of the fact that it is so sensational and so horrific, that the news media is concentrating on it more than anything else. Yeah, you could say that too. I mean, certainly you can remember when the mobs were running around, there was a lot of violence under the mobs in the 1930s, 1940s, etc. However, what you definitely can say is that the uptick in violence has a correlation. An uptick in mass shootings has a correlation. And I'm just telling you that there are some statistics that would cause people to take note, that we need to take note of. Okay? First of all, many of these mass shooters that you see, that you hear about, they have previously shown clear signs of not only mental illness, but also of violence ahead of time. And by the way, mental illness alone isn't the only thing that is an indicator. However, what is an indicator is a history of violence. That is the clearest and cleanest indicator as to whether or not an individual is going to have the propensity to become a mass shooter. Okay? But all of this, of course, it's true. that the majority of people with psychiatric disorders are not violent, but by saying that they're not violent, this sidesteps the fact that perpetrators of mass shootings are more likely to suffer from serious mental illness than the general public. This is especially true of those who who commit indiscriminate mass shootings. Now, this one that happened in Rhode Island reportedly is not an indiscriminate mass shooting. It was a man who went through transgender surgery. He apparently, at about the same time, ended up divorcing his wife because, his wife didn't want to be married to a woman. And there were some problems and issues, family issues, and so on and so forth. They divorced, reportedly as well. The individual had all kinds of, let's say, challenges. He threatened to go berserk in a rant just a day before he decided to massacre his 2 family members and injured 3 others. He also killed himself after opening fire at an ice rink where his son and many other seniors and many other families were there. Now, he underwent gender reassignment surgery back in 2020. And he made an ominous post on X in his anger about someone calling trans Democrat Representative Sarah McBride a man, even though biologically he is a man. Okay. And he goes, the perpetrator writes, "Keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk." Now, he was targeting his family, apparently, through years of heated court disputes over his identity. It's not immediately clear that the woman that was the mom gunned down was his ex-wife. I think it was, but anyway, his ex filed for divorce in 2020 on the grounds of gender reassignment surgery, narcissistic and personality disorder traits, according to the court filing. Their split was finalized in 2021, according to new outlets. Now, the 3 people that were injured are including 2 other relatives and a family friend that remain in critical condition. So obviously this was shall we say, a domestic dispute. That was all of this. Okay. And I'm just going to point out again, why are we not pointing out the facts? For an example, and just to be clear, Just Facts Daily kind of has done a analysis of this. And according to a 2020 paper that was in a journal called Criminology and Public Policy, 35% of the people who indiscriminately mass shootings from 1976 to 2018 had paranoid schizophrenia, and yet 60% of the shooters had been either diagnosed with a mental disorder or demonstrated signs of serious mental illness prior to the attack. In comparison, less than 1% of the U.S. general population actually has schizophrenia or a related disorder, and 4.6% of non-institutionalized U.S. adults have a serious mental illness. Now, association to this does not prove causation. I'm just going to point this out. However, it's a strong correlation that between the rise of indiscriminate mass shootings and the mass deinstitutionalization of psychiatric patients that had occurred from 1955 to around 2010, during that period, the portion of the U.S. population in public psychiatric hospitals declined by 96%. Here's a graph. I just want to show you. There's a graph right here that demonstrates. Yeah. Look at this. From 1900 to 1965, there was less than one incident per year. From 1966 to 1999, which is during the deinstitutionalization period, there was less than 4 per year. Today, from 2000 to 2018, we've had roughly 5 per year. Mass shootings. There is a correlation here. There has to be. There has to be something that demonstrates or that is a causation of all of this. Now, I've talked about this in the past, especially when it comes to school shootings. Okay? I've talked about it in the past. And by the way, according to a 1997 academic book, they explained that about 763,391 severely mentally ill people, which is over 750,000, are living in the community today who actually would have been hospitalized 40 years ago. Folks, we got to get serious about this mental illness stuff. By the way, just to point out, when you're talking about, when you come up against a lot of these people who are sitting here saying, oh, the United States, they have more shootings. Well, here's another correlating piece of fact. Take a look at this graph. The United States is down here. Oops. Let me do that again. It's down here. Yeah, the portion of the population that has been institutionalized. Folks, I'm just saying, everybody talks about, take a look at places like Japan, for an example. There's like no violence in Japan. Well, guess what? Japan's right here at the end of the chart. And it has the highest rate of institutionalization among developed nations. Take a look. Belgium, Korea, Germany, Latvia, etc. Look at all of these countries, these other countries that actually psychiatrically institutionalize people at higher rates than America. And you wonder why we're having such a problem. The number one mental illness is depression. The number one mental illness is depression in America today. And you're sitting there and you're asking yourself, okay, wait a minute. What? Okay, depression. Yeah. Well, what do you think the number one cause of firearm-related deaths is? Suicide. Folks, the tool is just a tool. The cause is what we're after. And if we can't fix this mental illness problem, and especially if we're sitting here and we're trying to normalize mental illness, if you feel like a cat, yeah, we're going to provide you with a cat box so that you can, explore your inner cat. That's completely ridiculous. America needs to wake up and realize that we need to stop this. We need to get this mental illness issue back under control. It's highly rampant among the homeless. And there's more homeless on the street than what we've had forever. We need to get this mental illness thing back under control. Now, this is the problem. This is the problem. It is probably the number one cause is mental illness and a history of violent behavior. Violent behavior being the number one key. So if you're violently behaving and not getting locked up, gee, I wonder what happens. And we've already seen it multiple times. We need to get serious about this. We need to get serious about mental illness. We need to get serious about criminality. We need to get serious in order to protect the innocent people that are running around in this world, that are all a part of this, that have the sunshine and rainbows, rose-colored glasses. Think that all of this stuff is just going to just magically disappear if you just give in. Nope. All right. So, yesterday I told you about the call to prayer, the Islamic call to prayer occurring in New York City now. Well, now, this is an X post. Nerdeen Kiswani is now saying, posted this on X, at least I think it's a she. Finally, New York City is coming to Islam. Dogs definitely have no place, dogs definitely have a place in society, just not as indoor pets. Like we've said all along, they are unclean. Yeah. Okay. This individual is like, yeah. So I'm going to tell you right now, by the way, Zohan Mandami is one of the ones who's made a significant move to Islamicize New York. Yeah. Islamize. I don't know how you pronounce it. But anyway, New York, including blasting the Islamic call to prayer 5 times a day. So, yeah. And, of course, the UK government, by the way, was working on a plan to make the British countryside less traditional and more appealing to a diverse population. They're looking to try and ban dogs in national parks over in UK. Seriously? Yeah. That idea has gained a lot of traction there. It's not all just talk. Yeah, I've told you they're posting this crap. Here's what it is. Please be courteous to your Muslim neighbors. Many Muslims live in this area and dogs are considered filthy in Islam. Please keep your dogs on a leash and away from the Muslims who live in this community. How about these people who come here and, just accept the fact that, hey, we're not the only ones, who live here. Yep. That's part of there are parts of UK cities that are essentially Muslim enclaves, and they are actively pushing to make them no-go zones for dogs. Yeah. So, anyway. Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Telling you, it's coming. They're gradually and slowly pushing their way in, and it's coming. And believe me, Sharia law has no business in America. It is totally and wholly incompatible with the United States Constitution. So, there you go. Anyway. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or in the case of 3 Chevy, a thumb sideways across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Whiskey Wednesday, and also for Pet of the Week, which I don't have a Pet of the Week, so if you want to get one in now. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. All right, we will see you tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.